तुकुलं नेत्राण्डे साक्षराकटाक्षं विदधने सदा श्रीमद्वृन्दावनवसतिलीलापरिचयो जगन्नाथस्वामी नयनपदकामी भवतु मे महं मोदे तीरे कनकरसिरे नेकशिखरे पसं प्रशान्ता सगजपदभद्रेण पदिना सुभद्रा मध्यसुगलसेवावसरतो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयनपदकामी भवतु मे कृपापारावारा सजलजलदा प्रेमिरुचिरो रमावाणी रमास्फुरकमलपौत्रेण मुखा सुरेन्द्रेराराधिय सुरलिकामजीवचरितो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयनपदकामी भवतु मे गदारूढो गच्छन् बलिवृषभभूतेव पदलैका सुधिप्रवर्तुं सुधिपदम् उपहर्य स्वदया दया सिन्धु बन्धु सकलजगतां सिन्धु सदयो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयनपदकामी भवतु मे परब्रह्म वेदा कुवलय दलोत्फुल्लनयनो निवासी लीलाद्रौ निखिलशरणो नन्दशिरसि प्रसानन्दो राधा सरसगौरालिङ्गनसुगो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयनपदकामी भवतु मे नवयाति राज्यं न सगणनमाणिक्यविभवं नयासीहं रम्यां चलचनकाम्यां मुरवतुं सदा काले काले ब्रह्मसतिनगीतचरितो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयनपदकामी भवतु मे हरत्वं संसारं कृतधरं असारं सुरपते हरत्वं पावनं बुद्धं अमरं यादवमते अहो दीने नादे गुरुशरणं चिरमिदं जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयनपदकामी भवतु मे जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयनपदकामी भवतु मे जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Namo Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Jara की नाम संकीर्तन की पद पावन सर्वोपात की पद पावन गुरुदेव की गंगामय गुणामय की भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण टेम्पल प्रोजेक्ट की श्री भगवान की यशोवंदन दामोदर भगवान की कार्तिक पूजा की दामोदर भक्त की समवेद भक्त वृंद की साई गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to the devotees, all glories to the devotees, all glories to the devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories, the Guru, the Govinda, all glories, all glories, all glories, Prabhupada.
சரி, அனைவரின் பாதுகாப்பு மற்றும் நல்வாழ்விற்காக நடைபெற்று வரும் ஸ்ரீ நரசிம்மாஷ்டோத்தரம் அர்ச்சனையில் இன்று நம்ம கோவில் பக்தர்களும் நலன்களுமான பக்த ஸ்ரீராம் பிரபு, பக்த ஹரிகரன் பிரபு அண்ட் திவ்யலட்சுமி மாதாஜி ஆகியோருக்காகவும் அவரது குடும்பத்தினரின் ஆரோக்கியம் மற்றும் பாதுகாப்பிற்காகவும் பகவான் ஸ்ரீ ஸ்ரீ பிரலாத் நரசிம்மதேவரிடம் நம்ம சிறப்பு பிரார்த்தனை அர்ப்பணிக்கின்றோம். ஓம் அஞ்ஞானாதிமிராந்தஸ்ய ஞானாஞ்சனசலாகயா चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिधि नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे. जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. जय नरसिंह श्री नरसिंह जय जय श्री नरसिंह. प्रहलादेश जय पद्मा महापद्मा वृंदा. उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं बीजनं भद्रं मृत्युर्नमाम्यहम्. ओं नरसिंहाय नमः, ओं महासिंहाय नमः, ओं दिव्यसिंहाय नमः, ओं महाबलाय नमः, ओं उग्रसिंहाय नमः, ओं महादेवाय नमः, ओं संपजाय नमः, ओं उग्रलोचनाय नमः, ओं रौद्राय नमः, ओं सर्वत्पुदाय नमः, ओं श्रीमनाय नमः, ओं योगानंदाय नमः, ओं त्रिविक्रमाय नमः, ओं हरिणे नमः, ओं कोलाहलाय नमः, ओं चक्रिणे नमः, ओं जयाय नमः, ओं जयवर्धनाय नमः, ओं भजननाय नमः, ओं परब्रह्माय नमः, ओं अघोराय नमः, ओं घोरविक्रमाय नमः, ओं ज्वलन्मुखाय नमः, ओं ज्वलामालिने नमः, ओं महाज्वलाय नमः, ओं महाप्रभुवाय नमः, ओं निधिलक्षाय नमः, ओं सहस्राक्षाय नमः, ओं तुन्निरीक्षाय नमः, ओं प्रतापनाय नमः, ओं महादंष्टाय नमः, ओं विदर्प्रज्ञाय नमः, ओं जलगोपिने नमः, ओं सदाशिवाय नमः, ओं हिरण्यकशिपूतंसिने नमः, ओं दैत्यताण्डवमञ्जननाय नमः, ओं गुणभद्राय नमः, ओं महाभद्राय नमः, ओं बलभद्राय नमः, ओं सुभद्राय नमः, ओं गरलाय नमः, ओं विकरलाय नमः, ओं विकर्ताय नमः, ओं सर्वकार्तिकाय नमः, ओं शिशुकुमाराय नमः, ओं त्रिलोकात्माय नमः, ओं ईशाय नमः, ओं सर्वेश्वराय नमः, ओं विभुवाय नमः, ओं वैब्रह्मराय नमः, ओं दिव्याय नमः, ओं अच्युताय नमः, ओं गाविने नमः, ओं माधवाय नमः, ओं मधोक्षजाय नमः, ओं अक्षराय नमः, ओं सर्वाय नमः, ओं वनमालिने नमः, ओं वरप्रदाय नमः, ओं विश्वम्भराय नमः, ओं अद्भुताय नमः, ओं पाव्याय नमः, ओं श्री विष्णवे नमः, ओं पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः, ओं मनुगस्त्राय नमः, ओं नगस्त्राय नमः, ओं सूर्यज्योतिने नमः, ओं सुरेश्वराय नमः, ओं सहस्रबाहुवाय नमः, ओं सर्वज्ञाय नमः, ओं सर्वसिद्धिप्रदायकाय नमः, ओं वज्रदंशाय नमः, ओं वज्रनगाय नमः, ओं महानंदाय नमः, ओं परन्दपाय नमः, ओं सर्वमन्त्रैकरूपाय नमः, ओं सर्वयन्त्रविदारमाय नमः, ओं सर्वतन्त्रात्मकाय नमः, ओं अव्यक्ताय नमः, ओं सुव्यक्ताय नमः, ओं भक्तवत्सलाय नमः, ओं वैशाखशुक्लबुधोत्ताय नमः, ओं शरणागतवत्सलाय नमः, ओं उदारकीर्तिने नमः, ओं पुण्यात्माय नमः, ओं महात्माय नमः, ओम चंद्रविक्रमाय नमः। ओम वेदात्रेयाय नमः। ओम प्रविज्याय नमः। ओम भगवानाय नमः। ओम परमेश्वराय नमः। ओम श्रीसंगाय नमः। ओम जगद्व्यापिने नमः। ओम जगन्नाथाय नमः। ओम जगत्पालाय नमः। ओम जगन्नाथाय नमः। ओम महाकाय नमः। ओम त्रिविरूपप्रदाय नमः। ओम परमात्माय नमः। ओम परमज्योतिने नमः। गुणाय नमः। ओम निर्विशेषणे नमः। ओम परतत्वाय नमः। ओम परमधामाय नमः। ओम सच्चिदानंद विग्रहाय नमः। ओम लक्ष्मीनरसिंहाय नमः। ओम सर्वात्माय नमः। ओम धीराय नमः। ओम प्रह्लादपालकाय नमः। ओम उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं जलंधं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं कीचकवक्त्रं मृत्युर्नमाम्यहम्। जय नरसिंह श्री नरसिंह जय जय श्री नरसिंहदेव। प्रह्लादेश जय पद्मा मुख पद्मा सिंहा। नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लादलाददायिने प्रज्ञाकाशीपूर्वशः श्रीलटङ्गानकालाये दो नरसिंहा परदो नरसिंहा यद यद यामि तदो नरसिंहा पाहि नरसिंहा हृदये नरसिंहा नरसिंहमदीं शरणं प्रपद्ये तव करकमलवरेण्यः अकुतशृङ्गा तलिदा हिरण्यकशिपो तनुभृङ्गां जयकेशवदत्ता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे। श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की, श्री निताई गौर सुंदर की, पदी प्रभुपाद की। हरे राम हरे राम राम राम
Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are continuing our reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Welcome to everybody who is here today in this holy month of Kartik. We have the great opportunity by Prabhupada's mercy, by Vaishnava's mercy, to indulge in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We were reading from the Bhagavatam about Rukmini Krishna Samvada. This Rukmini Krishna Samvada is so full of juice and so full of intimate, loving emotions expressed by both Krishna and Rukmini to each other, that it is very famous. There is a temple very close to Guruvayur, where I normally relate this pastime of Lord Shiva being present when the famous Pundanam you see in the history, Pundanam and Narayana Bhattatri were two great devotees. And you will see in that particular, in the little Lila, in the Lord Shiva temple, Pundanam gave Bhagavad Saptaha, or Bhagavad Katha, let's say. And there he spoke on one day on Rukmini Krishna Samvad. And the next day he wanted to speak on another topic, but he found that the bookmark was on Rukmini Krishna Samvad, which was surprising to him because normally he has been speaking on so many topics and every day he keeps it on the other topic for tomorrow and he moves. But he found that the bookmark was on Rukmini Krishna Samvad, but he spoke on it again completely differently. And then he made sure on this day that it was on the next topic. But when he came back in the evening again, he found that the bookmark was again shifted to Rukmini Krishna Samvad. And then he was amazed and he spoke again on it. So in this way, he spoke for 3 days in Rukmini Krishna Samvad. And the third day happened to be the last day. And he was confused. He was saying, why should I? Then he said, anyway, and nobody said anything against when he was speaking in Rukmini Krishna Samvad. They all enjoyed it because each time he was speaking something different. And then at the end, he was very, very pensive and thoughtful. Why is this that I'm speaking for 3 days in Rukmini Krishna Samvad? And each time I am feeling very refreshed and I'm speaking completely different things from what I spoke the previous day. And nobody is saying anything about it. It was like in his mind. Pundanam was known to be a great devotee, very natural devotee. Rustic, local villagers came and listened to him. So he just was pensive and everybody left. He gave them prasadam and he was the last person to leave. As he moved, rustling on the leaves that had fallen under the tree he had speaking, and the people moved off and the gates were closing for the temple. He suddenly remembered that he had forgotten his Bhagavatam there. So he came running after some time to take his Bhagavatam back, and he found the temple completely empty. Every light is off, but there was brilliant effulgence because there was a wonderful sage with a, matted locks of hair and a snake around his neck sitting and reading his copy of the Bhagavatam. And there was one lady sitting in front, hearing the Bhagavatam, very rapt attention with her head and all covered nicely. And Lord Shiva was speaking Rukmini Krishna Samvad. So he's seeing from the gate this fantastic scene of these glowing personalities. Pundanam sat down there to hear. And he heard Rukmini Krishna Samvad, which was totally different from what he spoke. And he was saying, oh, beautiful. And then by the time the sunrise started happening, and that sage-like person with a snake around his neck got up and said, I think it's time now, the temple will open, we have to go. And he got up. And then as he was leaving, he asked her, so how was it, the Rukmini Samvad? She said, wonderful, but not as good as Pundanam's. All this was heard by Pundanam near the gate. And then he smiled and said, yes, Pundanam, so beautifully he chanted that I was forced to make him speak every day on it for 3 days. And then Pundanam opened his eye and these two people disappeared into the temple. And then before they disappeared, Pundanam started calling, my Bhagavat copy, my Bhagavatam you're keeping. Then that saintly person turned around to Pundanam and said, you'll find it in your house on your, roof like this. He said and indicated something and left. And Pundanam went home and found that he had the Bhagavatam, his own Bhagavatam, there in his house, exactly where it indicated. It was Lord Shiva who actually enjoyed Rukmini Krishna Samvada, spoke about it to Parvati, and Parvati has known to have said that his rendition was so wonderful. And yours also was good, but his was better. So this Samvada is so famous. Even Lord Shiva reads and indulges in it. Parvati listens to it. And you'll find it's very sweet. We have been discussing in Swakhiya Rasa how Krishna is relating with the Lakshmis. Lakshmi Sahasra Satasambrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So in Dwaraka, the whole mood is different from what we've been hearing, Madhurya Rasa. In the evening, we are hearing explanations of Damodar Ashtaka. In Vatsalya Prema of Yashodamai. But this is different. This is outside of Vrindavan, in Dwaraka. And this is a relationship with one of the Lakshmis, the chief of the Lakshmis, that is Rukmini. It is mentioned, like we heard, her beauty being described. It is mentioned that Rukmini is the form of Lakshmi who is more beautiful than the Lakshmi in Vaikuntha. This comment is made by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and he quotes some verse. Rukmini looked very beautiful, even more beautiful than Lakshmi in Vaikuntha. Why? Because Krishna looked extremely beautiful, more beautiful than the Narayana of Vaikuntha. He was Dwaraka Krishna, Vasudeva Krishna. So matching with his beauty, consort also comes like that. So Lakshmi assumed a greater beauty than she normally assumes in Vaikuntha. So Rukmini was looking more beautiful, and Krishna admired her beauty. Her bangles were jingling and she was fanning Krishna. And then thinking in his mind, we're recollecting from last session yesterday, in his mind he was thinking, Rukmini is so quiet and so surrendered to me. And Satyabhama is, different. She expresses herself and she demands and she is in a different bhava. Prema is of two types. Here it is mentioned that Rukmini is in Dakshinaya bhava. Means very sober, quiet, stoic, everything inside, and completely submissive. That is the type of bhava. Dakshinaya bhava. Vama bhava is outpouring, chastising, anger, mana, like Radharani and all that. All that is expressed very openly. Satyabhama was like that, but Rukmini was like very quiet. And so Krishna thought that, I want to see you angry. And when you get angry, because you're so sober, so submissive, so surrendered to me, when you get angry, I'll see a different type of beauty. Because I know you're very beautiful as Rukmini. But I want to be another face of you, angry beauty. I want to see. And that's why he tickled her and provoked her like this. And we read that portion. So here we can see Mukham cha prema sambhramba spuritadharam ikshitum katakshe paruna ganam sundara bhrukudi tatam. I'm reading from 10.60.30. I also wanted to see your face with lips trembling in loving anger, the reddish corners of your eyes throwing sidelong glances, and the line of your beautiful eyebrows knit. In a frown. Okay, so devotees association. This is Purport: Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that normally by the Lord's transcendental desire, his pure devotees reciprocate with him in such a way that they satisfy his spiritual desires. But Rukmani's love was so strong that a unique mood predominated in the situation. Thus, instead of becoming angry, she fainted and fell to the ground. Far from displeasing Krishna, however, she increased his transcendental ecstasy by exhibiting her all-encompassing love for him. You see, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur goes to explain, and Prabhupada is indicating here, the Lord is under control here. His Ichha Shakti, like we saw during the Vatsalya Prema of Yashoda Mai, that is Vibhuti Shakti and Satya Sankalpa Shakti had entered, and they were making sure that Yashoda Mai cannot tie up, because that is a desire, Ichha of Krishna. He said, you will not be able to tie me. So his Shaktis were working in making sure. In this case, the Lord's desire was to make her angry. So he was in full control of that desire. So that Ichha Shakti meant to actually make her angry. But the point is that Rukmini had amazing prema for Krishna. Right? She was fully absorbed in love for Krishna. So although Krishna's Ichha Shakti was in control, it seems prema overtook. What he wanted did not happen. In fact, the opposite happened. Prema overtook his Ichha Shakti, and she didn't get angry. Instead, she fainted down. The opposite happened. So this is very interesting that this is a study in Nectar of Devotion. All these things are given. Study of the mechanics of the pastimes of love of Krishna. What are the different emotions coming? Right? Sthayi bhava, rati, prema, sneha, pranaya, mana, raga, anuraga, all this is described in the Nectar of Devotion. So Rukmini is exhibiting those aspects in different places in her expression of love all the time. While she was fanning, she was in particular type of film. She was constantly in love with Krishna. So Krishna could not make her angry because her love did not allow it, did not allow that to happen. So this detail of the mechanics of prema is very deeply interesting for those who are able to understand it. So Krishna is saying here, we just read the shloka, I wanted to see your lips trembling in anger and your beauty coming out. But no, that did not happen. Instead, she fell down. Prema sambrahma, anger in love, he wanted to see. But that did not happen. Instead, she fainted. That's amazing. Ayam hi paramo labho griheshu grihamedhinam yan marmairiyate yamaha priyaya bhirubhamini. Krishna is now speaking. He has already taken Rukmini. She fainted. And he thought, oh my gosh, she fainted. Something opposite happened. Then he manifested 4 hands. We read this yesterday. It seems with one hand he wiped away the tears. With the other hand he placed her on her lap. And then with another hand he wiped off the tears and everything from her breasts. And with the other hand he was adjusting her. 4 hands in operation. See what Krishna can do because he's the Supreme Lord, Sarva Shaktiman. And at any time he can manifest his strength, his power. So he handled her with 4 hands. Instant, emergency. And we saw that happening. And he started telling her, oh, I'm sorry. This is not what I meant. I just was teasing you and I wanted to see you angry. Ayam hi paramalabho. You see the same shloka, Ayom hi paramo labho uttama shloka lalasa, uttama shloka darshanam, is spoken by Sudhama also. Ayam hi paramo labho. Oh, indeed, my great profit, great labha will be uttama shloka darshanam. I will be able to see Krishna in Dwarka. That's what he thought in his mind when his wife said, please, why don't you think of asking your dear friend Krishna something? Same way here, I am he Paramalapo. Krishna himself is saying, I was thinking that I'll make you angry. And just like a griheshu grihamedhinam, is word being used here by Krishna. In family life, worldly householders, marmaihi, with joking words, they spend their little time. Oh, brew, timid one, Bhaimini, or temperamental one. Please, that is the reason why I did this. The greatest pleasure worldly householders can enjoy at home is to spend time joking with their beloved wives, my dear timid and temperamental one. Obviously, they were not just ordinary worldly householders. This is transcendental pastime. Krishna is having a very deep relationship. Because, Rukmini never gets angry. She never gets angry with Krishna. She always wants to be very pleasing in front of Krishna. I always want to give Krishna pleasure by my activities. I want him to be happy. Tasyeva heto prayateta kovido na labhyate. I'm sorry. Pleasing Krishna. What is the shloka? Haritoshanam. Samsiddhir haritoshanam. Varnashrama Dharma teaches us that Varnashrama should be followed in such a way that Hari is pleased. So similarly, devotional service we do for the pleasure of Krishna. Initially, of course, devotees do sadhana. They don't do so much for pleasure of Krishna, but they do sometimes for pleasure of themselves also. But Krishna accepts it in sadhana. And gradually, when our love awakens, we don't want to do anything for ourselves. Our love is so strong for Krishna that if Krishna is pleased, I'm willing to commit, the worst of things which are morally not good also. It does not matter to me because Krishna's pleasure is topmost. So Rukmini was always like that. And when she wrote letter to Krishna also, she thought in her mind that I want to serve Krishna. That's why I want to become his wife. Not for my own enjoyment in any way. This was Rukmini's surrender. And normally, in the ideal husband-wife relationship, it is mentioned that Prakriti and Purusha, that the wife is enjoyed and the wife is supposed to give pleasure and keep pleasant, and the husband is pleased and bestows upon her all that she wants. This is the ideal relationship. So Rukmini never got angry, but there's one place she got a little angry is when she was being kidnapped and her brother Rukmi attacked. And Krishna defeated Rukmi, was always going to kill Rukmi. That's when she became afraid. And then Balaram came and saved her by stopping Krishna from doing that. Since she is with you, she's so young girl, and you're doing this to her brother, stop it, don't do it. And then Krishna went ahead and disfigured Rukmi. Cut off one portion of his hair, cut off his mush, like that. That time also she got a little angry. Why is he doing this to him? But those are Kshatriya sports. Hair always grows back. That's not a big thing. But Krishna was, okay, I could not kill you because, I'm going to marry your sister. It's not good for me to do that just before the marriage. So instead, I'll do this to you. And he shaved off his mush and this thing and disfigured him, took off the hair and so many things he did. That time also, it seems, Rukmini got angry. Why are you doing this to my brother? But Kshatriyas do all sorts of things, and Rukmini is getting to know what type of a Kshatriya is my husband. That's why he's reflecting earlier and saying that I think you made a mistake marrying me because I'm a person like this. I'm brash, maybe crude, and, just a villager, cowherd man, etc., etc., right? So the point is that Rukmini's prema was so great. And here again we see that Shri Shukavacha Saivam Bhagavata Rajan Vaidharbi Parishantvidya Nyatva Tat Parihasoktim Priyatyaga Bhayam Jaho. Shukadeva Goswami said, O King, Queen Vaidarbhi was fully pacified by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and understood that his words had been spoken in jest. Thus, she gave up her fear that her beloved would reject her. Immediately, as soon as Krishna pacified, Krishna is very expert in pacifying. He's mentioned it. He's very good at speaking. He has got very good tongue. Even with the gopis, they tell him that you're very good at speaking sweet words and getting us right. So they know that he's supposed to be expert at it. So here also he exhibited that expertise and got Rukmini quickly back into her prema platform. But Rukmini is going to come back with a bang. She is very happy that Krishna is joking with her, and it is not true, right? So you see the everybody, would like to have a partner, something like this. Ideal partner who's always interested in keeping you happy. But I know you can pray a lot about this. It's not so easy in Kali Yuga. To always have an obedient wife and very submissive and very much oriented traditionally towards this. Many male members want wives who are very obedient, and traditionally everything from the wife's side, from their side, they are not traditionally what they should be to the wife either. Incompatibility, somehow the other comes about. But here you can see a highly compatible situation. But activity of misunderstanding only because of prema and prema lila. And here Rukmini, Vaidarbhi, will start now wonderfully giving a purport and commentary to what Krishna said. She said, no, what you said is true only. She'll start saying that very wonderfully after becoming happy that this is not true. Babhasha rasabham pumsam vikshanti bhagavan mukham savrida hasa ruchira snigdha pamgena bharata, smiling bashfully as she casts charming, affectionate glances upon the face of the Lord, the best of males. Rukmini spoke the following, O descendant of Bharata. Shri Rukmini uvacha Nanvevametat Aravinda Vilochanaha Yadvai Bhavan Bhagavato Asatarshi Vibhumna Kusve Mahimni Abhirato Bhagavam Tri Adhisha Kwaham Guna Prakritir Agnagrihita Pada. Shri Rukmini said, actually what you have said is true, O lotus-eyed one. I am indeed unsuitable for the Almighty Personality of Godhead. What comparison is there between that Supreme Lord who is the master of the three primal deities and who delights in his own glory, and myself, a woman of mundane qualities whose feet are grasped by fools? She's very nicely talking about Shishupala, Jarasandha, and all of them who were going all out for getting Rukmini actually. So, Agnya Grihita Pada, my feet grasped by fools. Who am I? Kwa aham daridra papiyan, kwa Krishna Sri Niketanaha, Brahma Bandhu iti smaham bahubhyam parirambitaha. Similarly, Sudama also said, who am I? Kwa aham daridra papiyan, a sinful, wretched, poverty-stricken Brahmana. Kwaham Sri Krishna. Who is Krishna? My God, Sri Niketana. Goddess Lakshmi rests on his chest. Brahma Bandhu iti smaham. I'm a Brahma Bandhu, a fallen Brahmana. But he accepted me as himself. Iti smaham bahubhyam parirambita. And he embraced me with his long arms. You see, who am I and who is God? I'm just an insignificant living entity, a fallen Brahmana, totally unqualified. But that supreme absolute truth, Brahman, Parabrahman, Krishna, embraces me. Wow, what a difference. Similarly here, Rukmini is now showing her great talent, her intelligence, and her capacity to argue
Alert from
logically.
Exam glory.
She's bringing out some beautiful verses now that we will read. She's, everything that Krishna mentioned that, I'm incompatible with you, I am actually afraid, I've gone into the ocean and built a fort. What is the use of getting people like me? I've abandoned my kingdom. In fact, Ugrasena is the king and I'm hanging around actually. I'm doing, so I have no good qualities, then people who worship me are beggars, they don't have anything with them. And actually speaking, I'm not interested in family life. So all these things he had mentioned, Shurukmi, you start giving answers to all these things. So yeah, all this is true. All this is true. How is it true? She starts arguing, yes, my lord. She says here, Satyam bhayadiva gunebhya urkramantah shete samudra upalambhanamatra atma nityam kadindriya ghanai krita vigrahastvam Tvatsevakai nrupapadam vidhutam tamo andham. Yes, my lord Urukrama, you lay down within the ocean as if afraid of the material modes. And thus in pure consciousness, you appear within the heart as a super soul. You're always battling against the foolish material senses. And indeed, even your servants reject the privilege of royal dominion, which leads to the blindness of ignorance. So, she's giving a very good purport to everything that Krishna said. What you said is true, but she's explaining it from the viewpoint of devotion and how your devotees are. Of course, you are lying down in the ocean because as Vishnu, he lies down in the ocean. Narayana also means lying in the ocean of water. And Krishna is the person who takes shelter of the ocean and lies down there in pure consciousness, she's saying. And you expand from there a super soul. That's a super soul of the whole creation, super soul of all the universes, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and then super soul in the heart of everybody, Kshirodakshai Vishnu. True, you take shelter of the water. And your servants reject the privilege of your royal dominion. And your servants are not bothered about your greatness in the sense of royalty. And they are not interested in enjoying anything royal either. Instead, they offer themselves to you. So this is very interesting. Rajabhyo vibhyataha subhru samudram sharanam gatan, as she is mentioned here. Out of fear of the kings, we took shelter of the ocean, is what Krishna told. And that she is giving answer for here. The rulers of the world are actually under the gunas, the material modes of nature. And his devotee should not come under the modes of material nature. And Krishna is always careful in protecting his devotees, right? He protects his devotees and gives them special. Although Krishna says that I am not unequal, he also mentions that I'm inclined to my devotees. So all these nice statements made by Krishna, you will see, are getting good answers from Rukmini. Tvatpada padma makaranda jusham modina vartma sphutam pashubir nanu durvibhavyam yasmad alaukikam ivehitam ishwarasya bhumam stavehitam ato anuye bhavantam. Your movements, inscrutable even for sages who relish the honey of your lotus feet, are certainly incomprehensible for human beings who behave like animals. And just as your activities are transcendental, O all-powerful Lord, so too are those of your followers. Krishna earlier mentioned, women are usually destined to suffer if they stay with men whose behavior is uncertain and to pursue a path non-approved by society. So Rukmini is answering here, saying that, yes, you are definitely not understandable even by sages who can relish the lotus feet of yours. You're incomprehensible for human beings, especially those who are Swavid Varahoshtrakarai Samsuta Purusha Pashu Jatunama Gadagraja. How will they understand you? They are like animals. So, yes, your behavior is very different because you're not like every one of us. You're not like anything material. You're not even like the demigods. What to speak of even Vishnu, you're even above them. You are inscrutable. And because your activities are all transcendental. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvataha. So everything is divyam about you. And that your devotees know. Therefore you are different. I'm just moving through fast because we cannot cover everything otherwise. Niskinchano, I will read only the translations. You possess nothing because there is nothing beyond you. Even the great and see, you possess nothing. Yes. How? Because above you, mattah parataram na anyat. There is nothing above me. Yes, you possess that. So this is a very beautiful explanation. Yes, you possess nothing. Why? This is nothing. Mattah parataram na anyat. There is nothing above you. Right? Even great enjoyers of tribute, Brahma and other demigods, pay tribute to you. Those who are blinded by their wealth and absorbed in gratifying their senses do not recognize you in the form of death. But to the gods, the enjoyers of tribute, you are the most dear one, as they are to you. Because Krishna had mentioned, I have no material possessions, and I am similarly followed by people who are also akinchana gochara. They also don't have anything. So you are so beautiful, why you have chosen me and worshipping me. You could have very well got money. You could have got wealth. So she is giving answer. Those who are blinded by wealth and absorbed in gratifying their senses will not recognize you, the supreme absolute truth. Right? But to all the great demigods who enjoy the tribute that you have given them, you are the most dear and you are dear to them. Right? Don't tell me that your followers are also beggars and you also don't have any possessions. These possessions of the Lord cannot be seen by ordinary materialists. Tvat gunavada siddhu. Krishna's ocean of qualities can be understood. Only we can understand transcendence. If we cannot even understand I am spirit, soul, I am not this body, how can you understand Krishna's transcendental qualities? Krishna is nirguna. He's got no material quality, but he is saguna, full of spiritual qualities. Prabhupada has very nicely explained that. So Rukmini is arguing and saying, yes, you don't have any wealth of this nature. Your wealth is all transcendental, full, amazingly powerful wealth you have. So in this way, she is recognizing Krishna's greatness. You are the embodiment of all human goals and are yourself the final aim of life, desiring to attain you, O all-powerful Lord. Intelligent persons abandon everything else. It is they who are worthy of your association, not men and women absorbed in the pleasure and grief resulting from their material lust. So, Krishna had earlier mentioned marriage and friendship are okay for people who are on equal terms with birth, wealth, influence, physical appearance, and capacity for good progeny. And, we are unequal, actually. So, why did you marry me? Why don't we get somebody else who is equal to you? You have wealth, you have good parentage, Janma Aishwarya Shrutashri. He had mentioned that to her. So she's counteracting that by saying, actually, you are the goal of life. You are actually the goal of life. Why shouldn't I not attain you? Right? Anybody who's intelligent will know he should give up everything else, all other material things that he thinks is the goal of life. He should give it up and he should take your association and he should know that achieving you is the topmost. And those people who don't do that, right, they are condemned. What is the use? In this way she is arguing. Knowing that great sages who have renounced the sannyasis danda proclaim your glories, that you are the supreme soul of all worlds, and that you are so gracious that you give away even yourself. I chose you as my husband, rejecting Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the rulers of heaven, whose aspirations are all frustrated by the force of time which is born from your eyebrows. What interest then would I have in any other suitors, right? So Rukmini is giving powerful answers as to why she chose Krishna as her husband. Because Krishna has asked those questions, of course, in a teasing manner. And now she is occupying an opposite position. And she is giving, I'll tell you why I have chosen you. And she makes it very clear about, I know who you are. I know that I have full faith and confidence and prema, love for you. I know what I'm doing, and I've done it with good understanding and knowledge only. I'm not some whimsical, frivolous little girl who got married to you. I have all this information. I'm well read and I know what I'm doing. I have made a choice. You can say that you're a cowherd. You can say that you have no money with you. You can say that all your devotees are poor. Yes, I know it. That's all a materialistic estimate. And that's not what I wanted anyway. So why should I worry? Even if it is Brahma and Shiva, I'm not interested in them. I'm not interested in marrying even Brahma and Shiva, because you are far, far, far greater than all of them. And I want to go for the best. That's why I married you. Like Prabhupada said, if you go hunting, hunt the rhinoceros. I'm going to get married. I get married to the Supreme Personality of God, and He is worthy to be my husband. Why? Because I'm Lakshmi. Because I'm Lakshmi. Right? So don't say that I am, you are inferior and I am superior. No, it is that you are the one who's superior. And I have decided to serve you, and therefore I'm here. And I know what I'm doing. So these are very brilliant. My Lord, as a lion drives away lesser animals to claim his proper tribute, you drove off the assembled kings with the resounding twang of your Sharanga bow, and then claimed me, your fair share. Thus it is sheer foolishness, my dear Gadhagraja, for you to say you took shelter in the ocean out of fear of these kings. So, he said, Rajabhyo Bibhyatah Subhru Samudram Sharanam Gatan. Terrified of those kings, we went to the ocean for shelter, he had said. Because Jarasandha chased him, attacked him so many times. 18 times this happened. And then Kalayavana came finally. And then finally he said that, okay, I'll go far away so that these people cannot come inside the ocean. So he said that, I am afraid actually of those kings, and I went to the ocean for shelter. And she's giving a very transcendental commentary to that. I don't think so. That is true. You're a lion. And when you came as a lion, they scatter. I saw it happen when you picked me up, right? With the resounding twang of your Sharanga bow. And then you came and claimed to me. Who said that, you are terrified of them? They are terrified of you, right? So wanting your association, the best of kings, Anga, Vainya, Jayanta, Nahusha, Gaya, and others, abandoned their absolute sovereignty and entered the forest to seek you out. How could those kings suffer frustration in this world, O lotus-eyed one? So she quotes the names of great kings who gave up their whole entire material position and wanted to get to the lotus feet of the Lord, therefore entered the forest in deep meditation. The aroma of your lotus feet, which is glorified by great saints, awards people liberation and is the abode of goddess Lakshmi. What woman would take shelter of any other man after savoring that aroma? Since you are the abode of transcendental qualities, What,
Alert from
what will
calendar.
woman with the insight to distinguish her own true interests would disregard that fragrance and depend instead on someone who is always subject to terrible fear? These are powerful, reasoning, logic of Rukmini. Every woman should follow this logic and take shelter of Krishna, actually. It's not that the husband is a complete shelter in terms of many things. You take shelter of the husband in this world so that he will lead you to Krishna, who is the real shelter you seek through the husband. It's very clear in the wife's mind in traditional Vedic culture that through my husband I shall achieve the shelter of Krishna. And therefore I am rehearsing being surrendered to my husband. But actually I'm surrendering to Krishna. Why? Because my husband is also a devotee of the Lord. He's very sincerely serving the Lord. So what is wrong in me surrendering to him? After all, one should be surrendered to a Vaishnava. And here is a senior Vaishnava. I've accepted him as my husband, and I will completely surrender to him because through him I will gain the favor and shelter of Krishna. So you can see the way a wife will look at her husband in traditional Vedic custom. Because she is very attached to Krishna, she gets attached temporarily in this lifetime to this person so that he will get me attached to Krishna. He will engage me in devotional service. By serving him, I will be serving the Supreme Lord because he is so much engaged in the service. So that's the logic behind. It's not that I am inferior, husband is superior. It's not that it is a gender problem. We should equalize the genders. It's not any of these. Are all very low class thinking. In Kali Yuga, people are all anyway low class, so they'll think low class and they'll formulate some low class laws and they'll miss the point of the rich culture and the rich thinking that people had. So husband and wife are not just married on the basis of good looks and sense gratification alone. That was a consideration, right? Okay. But the main consideration, foundational consideration was, will he give me enough shelter to achieve the goal of life? That's the main point the wife will look at. That's why if you get married to somebody who's not a devotee, then everything grows crazy. Of course, sometimes they become devotees later. That's a side comment. But Rukmini, of course, is not marrying Krishna for going back to Godhead. She's marrying Krishna to serve Krishna. And she considers herself to be a servant maid. So she's giving these reasons about the greatness of Krishna. And which woman can, not accept this proposal? Like in the letter to the thing also, the gopis also mentioned that who will not opt for a person like you? The type of male that you are, the type of supreme personality you are, the type of Paramapurusha that you are. Which woman can resist herself from actually petitioning you and seeking you as a shelter? That's what we are all. We don't mind, all of us together. We're doing Katyayini Vrata. Because our only hope and faith is that if at all there is any husband we want, it is Krishna, nobody else. So Rukmini had decided in a letter that it's either you or nobody. No Shishupala, nobody. Not even Brahma and Shiva, she's telling here. Not even Brahma and Shiva. That's the determination of Rukmini. Because you are suitable for me, I have chosen you, the master and supreme soul of all the worlds, who fulfill our desires in this life and the next. May your feet, which give freedom from illusion by approaching their worshipper, give shelter to me, who have been wandering from one material situation to another. O infallible Krishna, let each of the kings you named become the husband of a woman whose ears have never heard your glories, which are sung in the assemblies of Shiva and Brahma. After all, in the households of such women, these kings live like asses, oxen, dogs, cats, and slaves. So here goes Rukmini's. Let those kings whom you have named, all this Sushupala, Jarasandha, all this Shalva and everybody. But let them go and get women whose ears have not heard your glories. See, you may be a woman who is very beautiful and very good in helping your husband in having sense gratification, doing his business, and you've got the husband completely under your control. This is what is, you think very good, but it's Rukmini's curse that if you are a person who has not heard the glories of Krishna and you're not a devotee, then you're cursed to get a husband like that, whom you think you're controlling and with whom you think you're having sense gratification greater than the husband himself, and whom you're cheating. All this is because of the curse she has given, that if you don't think about Krishna, you don't be attached to Krishna, you will get a husband who will actually, take you further down. So you understand how important it is for us to seek a partner who is a devotee. A woman who fails to relish the fragrance of the honey of your lotus feet becomes totally befooled, and thus she accepts as her husband or lover a living corpse covered with skin, whiskers, nails, head hair, and body hair, and filled with flesh, bones, blood, parasites, feces, mucus, bile, and air. That is what is that a lady, if a lady is not Krishna conscious, even in the least bit, then this is what she is. She is just a dead body. She's just a dead body. And those type of dead kings can have these dead bodies as wives. Because what is the use? If she has not understood, worshipped Krishna, tasted the glories of Krishna, read the Srimad Bhagavatam, associated with devotees, she is as good as a corpse. This is an amazing shloka to be used if you want to very nicely fry up a newcomer into Krishna consciousness. So be very careful how you use this. But this is an instruction to girls, to ladies, how important it is to follow the instructions of great personalities like Rukmini and craft out a grahastha life which is centered around Krishna. These are powerful instructions that she's giving, right? Don't think we should compromise that. O lotus-eyed one, though you are satisfied within yourself and thus rarely turn your attention towards me, please bless me with steady love for your feet. It is when you assume a predominance of passion in order to manifest the universe that you glance upon me, showing me what is indeed your greatest mercy. So in this way, Rukmini, actually, I don't consider your words false, Madhusudana. Quite often, an unmarried girl is attracted to a man, as in the case of Amba. You know, Amba, Bhishma brought Amba, Ambalika, and Ambika. He kidnapped them in a Swayamvara. In fact, the kings protested and said that you can't do this. You're so old. How can you come and fight in the Swayamvara? I can be contestant. He said, I can be. The law doesn't say against anything. I can be. And then he fought all the kings and kidnapped these three women and came all the way. This is how Vichitra Virya and all of them got married, who were, Satyavati's children of Shantanu Maharaj. And they could, and Amba, one of them, could not go ahead because she said, I've already given my heart to Shalva. And she goes back and Shalva doesn't accept her. And she comes back and the whole story goes like that. So she's talking about, if a woman becomes attracted to some man before marriage, then she's got that fixed. And this is what happened to Rukmini. He said, I can't think of anybody else but you. So Before marriage itself, her mind was fixed in Krishna. In fact, before marriage, anybody's mind should be fixed on Krishna only, not only Rukmini's. Whether you're going to be the husband or you're going to be the wife, for both of them, before marriage, after marriage, in between marriage, all the time it's better to be fixed on Krishna only, because then married life will go on nicely. The mind of a promiscuous woman always hankers for new lovers, even if she is married. An intelligent man should not keep such an unchaste wife, for if he does, he will lose his good fortune both in this life and in the next. The Supreme Lord said, O saintly lady, O princess, we deceived you only because we wanted to hear you speak like this. Indeed, everything you said in reply to my words is certainly true. Now Krishna is becoming Krishna. Yan yan kamayase kaman mahi akamaya bhamini santi hi ekanta bhaktayais tava kalyani nityata. Whatever benedictions you hope for in order to become free of material desires are never yours, O fair and noble lady, for you are my unalloyed devotee. Upalabdham pati prema pati vratyam chate angage yad vakyais chalyamana yanathir mayi upakarshita. O sinless one, I have now seen firsthand the pure love and chaste attachment you have for your husband. Even though shaken by my words, your mind could not be pulled away from me. Although I have the power to award spiritual liberation, lusty persons worship me with penance and vows in order to get my blessings for their mundane family life. Such persons are bewildered by my illusory energy. Again, very important statement, right? Dampatyo kalaho nasti tatra sri swayamagata. Where there is no misunderstanding between husband and wife, Lakshmi is present. Chanakya Pandit's statement that if the husband and wife have a very mature Krishna conscious relationship, then blessings of Lakshmi is there. In other words, Rukmini's blessings. And Krishna is acknowledging and saying, yes, whatever you assert is true. Although I have the power to award spiritual liberation, lusty persons worship me with penance and vows in order to get blessings for their mundane family life. Such persons are bewildered by my illusory energy. That is why they are asking like this. So, O supreme reservoir of love, unfortunate are they who, even after obtaining me, the Lord of both liberation and material riches, hanker only for material treasures. These worldly gains can be found even in hell. Since such persons are obsessed with sense gratification, hell is a fitting place for them. Oh, that's a very powerful statement by Krishna. That even after we become knowledgeable in Krishna consciousness and we achieve Krishna conscious devotional service, if you still remain attached to material life, then your destination is very doubtful. Fortunately, O mistress of the house, you have always rendered me faithful devotional service, which liberates one from material existence. The service is very difficult for the envious to perform, especially for a woman whose intentions are wicked, who only lives to gratify her bodily demands and who indulges in duplicity. Well, these are statements. In all my palaces, I can find no other wife as loving as you, O most respectful one. It's a powerful statement made by Krishna about Rukmini. When you were to be married, you disregarded all the kings who were assembled to seek your hand, and simply because you had heard authentic accounts concerning me, you sent a Brahmana to me with your confidential message. This is interesting. That Leela. And here Krishna's statement that out of all the 16,108 wives, you are most dear to me. Right? So This way, Rukmini is glorified by Krishna now. And Krishna remembers all the wonderful things that happened in the past when she was kidnapped by the request of Rukmini herself, and how Krishna has come to this point now, being fully nicely situated with Rukmini. And Rukmini is self-satisfied. And Krishna is explaining very nicely who he is, what is his position, what Rukmini's position as a devotee is, and how Rukmini is very devoted and just wants to be a servant of Krishna. And in this way, this Leela comes to a close here in the reading. So lessons we can learn a lot from here about relationships between husband and wife. We can learn about the true position of a devotee and the Supreme Lord. And even in a manifest Leela of Krishna, wherein he has accepted a wife, Rukmini, what is the reality actually? And how Rukmini is using her intelligence and how she is very firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. She is using her intelligence and giving a fitting reply to the teasing comments made by Krishna. And so she reinstates, Krishna is trying to unsettle her, but she, very nicely guards and defends herself and saying, and giving proper answers and resettles herself in Krishna consciousness. These types of adjustments are required by us quite often in life, because sometimes people want to provoke us, not like Krishna is doing to Rukmini alone, but in worse situations. So we should always remember, Jivera Swarupa Hoi Krishnera Nitya Das. I am eternally a servant of Krishna. And by constantly remaining connected with Krishna in service in this particular mood, Krishna will protect us from falling into illusion and becoming, grasped by one of Maya's powerful hands, grappling within that situation. Since Krishna is our protector, and since we depend constantly on Krishna, Krishna awards that protection to us, just like he is doing that to Rukmini. Om Tat Sat, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Any question or comment?
Maharaj, there is a question on YouTube I have put on chat.
Sundara Raman. Sometimes Krishna acts like hen-pecked husband. Krishna is transcendental. What do we learn from this action of Krishna's? Does this action mean it is maybe life? Please clarify. Krishna acts like a hen-pecked husband. In fact, Krishna is acting everything in the material world for the benefit of us. Nato Natyatharo Yata is considered by Kunti to be a super good actor. Because unless Krishna acts, he cannot be amongst human society. If he remains a Supreme Lord inaccessible to everybody, then how can we all get benefit of his association, his instructions, his leelas? So these are all pastimes of the Lord wherein he's acting as a hen-pecked husband and he's enjoying a rasa as much as he is acting as a small boy, poverty-stricken, no food to eat, stealing butter, running away, his mother is chasing him. All this is act, but all these acts are transcendental and they are all leelas. So therefore, although Krishna acts as a hen-pecked husband, it is to reciprocate with his devotees, Satyabhama, with Jagadananda Pandit, and with Damodar Pandit, and all of them. Lord Chaitanya also said very nicely, like this conversation you will see, Lord Chaitanya also is controlled by Damodar Pandit. And he tells that Jagadananda Pandit, Damodar Pandit, and Srivas, all of them are desiring that I have sense gratification, that I actually should not associate with so-and-so young boy who's whose mother is a young, beautiful widow, or Jagadananda Pandit who feels that I should use sandalwood oil. All of these people are actually trying to control me. I am a sannyasi and they're getting disturbed because I don't do the things that they do. So therefore I'm going from here. He also enacts something similar between Rukmini and Krishna. That's a leela. So Krishna reciprocates to the chastisement of Satyabhama, brings her a whole tree. And when Krishna gave the whole tree to Satyabhama, Rukmini never spoke a word. She didn't show any type of competitive feeling. Whereas Satyabhama did that when Rukmini was given a flower. So all these are leelas. It looks like the Lord is acting like a human being. You see, Manushim tanumashitam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. So we should, like Rukmini has deciphered, I know. Like that, we should also be able to decipher, yes, you're performing this role, but I know you are the Supreme Lord. Just like Kunti also said. So we should decipher and go inside and say, although the Lord is performing this Leela, he is not a henpecked husband. He is the Supreme Absolute Truth. And in this way, like Rukmini is decoding Krishna's teasing message, we should also decode certain portions of Krishna's statements, not others, which are very obvious, and accept the right thing. I hope that helps. Sundara Raman. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki.